So I'd like to thank you for joining me today. I love seeing Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, and you were one of my favorite characters, so it's excited to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
And so for the first part, can you please explain a little bit about yourself for those who don't know who you are?
Sure, my name is Jane Bruce. I play Delphi Diggory in Harry Potter and the Cursed Child on Broadway. I am originally from Ogden, Utah. Been in the city for a good while now. I was also in the original cast of Jagged Little Pill on Broadway. I write music, I do lots of stuff. I have a great cat named Kiki. That's who I am.
That's awesome. And so, what was the audition process like for Harry Potter and the Cursed Child?
The audition process was a bit longer than most shows I found. I actually auditioned for the show, I guess it would have been like 2 years ago now for the year prior. And I had a callback for Delphi after making a self-tape. But I had just booked this other job that was like a film and television showcase through ABC. And Harry Potter is a really amazing job, but it is you do a full year of the show, and they kind of are pretty set about that. And I just was at a point in my life where I was like, I don't know that I'm ready to like agree to do only one thing for a year. If this showcase is going to open doors for film and TV, like who knows? And then flash forward like 6 months, 8 months, the strike happened, and they called me and asked if I would like to come in again for this year. And I was like, yes, that sounds great. And I didn't have to make a self tape again, which is really nice. I think I went in the room with someone from the creative team and did the stair scene with Albus, which was the original material for the audition. And then there was a movement call where we learned the wand dance and did a lot of physical activities. Um, and then maybe there was another acting callback. At some point in there, I saw the show because especially after learning the wand dance, I was like, I don't know that I can do this. And then I saw the show and learned that Delphi does not do the wand dance, and I continued with the process. Um, yeah, I think I went in and did material from the show at least 3 times with different people. There were two movement calls, and then I also was taken to a place to fly to get harnessed up and sort of checked for my, I think, sort of sensibilities in that sort of medium of things, or just to see how scared of heights I was. I don't know.
Because you're one
And
of the
then,
main characters that flies, like you are one of the bigger characters that flies, correct?
yeah, yeah. Um, and yeah, right at the end, they added in the Quidditch pitch scene with Albus and Scorpius, which is really fun. Um, yeah, it was definitely over a month of auditions, which is it was cool. It was a cool process to keep sort of like getting through to the next level and the next level, and everyone along the way was really nice.
That's awesome. And so, what got you into theater as a child?
I did a play with my fifth grade class. We had like a choir teacher who worked with us to write
Mhm.
like an opera, quote unquote, from this like fairy tale book. And I just like became obsessed, really. I wanted to be the lead really bad, and I was just so committed in the auditions, and I didn't understand why I couldn't be the lead just because the lead character was supposed to be a boy. I was like, well, I'm obviously the best for the role. Like, why don't I just play the lead? And I don't know, I just really felt so I I just fell in love with it, and kind of never stopped. And I was really lucky that my family really supported me. I was able to go to this summer program while I was in high school that really connected me with a lot of people from all over the country, and a lot more people who had more direct access to New York and to Broadway and to some of the really great theater programs. And I still see those people all the time. Mary Kate Morrissey, who's playing Alphaba right now, was at that camp the same year I was. Um, all sorts of people that I kind of continue to see. So even going back that far, there's people that you meet who pop back up in your life and who you get to sort of track their career as you're building yours. And it just gave me a lot of perspective on like the bigger picture of things that I wasn't able to get in my small town in Utah. And yeah, I went to the University of Michigan for musical theater. Um, had an amazing time and have been in the city just kind of hustling ever since. And if anything, doing Harry Potter has really confirmed for me how much I love doing it because I'm having an amazing time and I feel it almost feels like being in school again. Like I really feel like um, the repetition of doing 8 shows a week for a full year felt really daunting. I wasn't sure how I'd be able to sort of creatively do it. And I have just felt so inspired every night, or found things to inspire me, or found pieces of my work that I can keep fine tuning or adjusting or learning from the people around me. Um, so it's been really a great experience.
That's great. And so you mentioned you were in the original cast of Jagged Little Pill. Do you prefer being in plays or musicals better, and why?
I love to sing, um, and I also am loving being in a play where I don't have to sing every night in a way. Like it's sort of nice to not worry about like, oh no, like is my throat a little scratchy? Like, oh no, I didn't have time to warm up. Like it's sort of uh, a little refreshing to have like one piece of the puzzle that I don't have to think about as much. Um, I love doing musicals. My ultimate dream is to originate a role in a new musical, something that is a little not grungy maybe, but just like more grounded, something that feels more like a play with music than like a maybe like super shiny spectacle of a musical, something like Once, which John Tiffany also directed. But um, like that's definitely my ultimate dream. I think that's where my heart really lies, and I love that medium. I think when musicals are good, they're just so good. Um, and I'm really loving doing a play too, though. So I would love to do more plays. I think sometimes they can feel more daunting as someone who has primarily done musical theater, and I think that this experience will hopefully help me have a little more confidence in myself going into those auditions moving forward. But it's hard to pick. But the ultimate dream is originating a role in a musical, I think.
That's great. And so, with this being Harry Potter, do you have a favorite Harry Potter book, and what is it?
Oh, I remember I was like the same age as the characters when the books were first coming out. So I read all of them when I was growing up, and I honestly have not reread them. I have a weird thing about rereading books. I feel like my brain, I get like a deja vu feeling because I've read it before, but I find it really disorienting and then I just give up. um, but I think the third book was always my favorite. I really love Sirius Black as a character. Um, and yeah, that's the book that I remember being the most sort of like drawn in by. Um, favorite character. I mean, currently my favorite character is Bellatrix because I have been doing, when I need a little bit of inspiration, I'll like go to YouTube and be like best of Bellatrix and like just watch Helen Bonham Carter be so crazy and wonderful and like, you know, kind of like tops up my gas tank on days where I'm feeling a little tired or anything.
So, are you in all 8 shows a week then? Like, you don't usually get a break unless it's like the Monday off?
Yeah, we just get Monday off. It's a really big cast. I have three understudies, so if I'm sick or I have something going on, I just got married in June, and so I had a week and a half off to get married and go on a little honeymoon, and my understudies did all of that. So they give you time if you need it. You know, you get two vacations a year. There's moments where you can step out, but you can't step out to like do another project. So theoretically, I'm here 8 shows a week,
Have you seen the
barring
show from the audience point of view?
I did. I saw the show while I was auditioning, and I saw it twice while I was in rehearsal.
And that was just the one part. You haven't seen the two part, have you?
Not officially. I have seen a bootleg that
Yeah.
is very good, and it was really fantastic.
I think there's actually only one out there right now. Uh,
Mm,
because I was searching on YouTube for one after, like on the way back to the hotel after I saw it, and I was searching up in the in the Uber on the way back, searching it up,
hmm
and I found it. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, this is a two part. And there's so many like scenes that I kind of wish they kept because they're so good, like the scenes with Hagrid, and those are
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
So I would love to see those two part someday. Uh, Do you have any inspirations as an actress, and who are they?
Hmm. Inspirations. I mean, I think there's something, I don't know, I feel really inspired by, I think one of my favorite theater performers I've seen in a long time is Katrina Lenk. I've been able to see her in The Band's Visit and Company and oh gosh, the play is so beautiful, Indecent. And she just has such a swagger and such a groundedness and like a confidence that is also, I don't know, I just feel like she's so real, like I all three times seeing her, I never feel like she's like putting anything on. She's playing very different characters, but she's like there's a real like center thread of such like deep authenticity that I find so incredible. And I'm really drawn in general to performers like that. I think that's something that I really strive for in my work. Um, yeah, I think that's my answer today. But it sort of changes day to day. I'll see something amazing and be like, wow, how did I love when I see something and I'm like, how did they do that? And try to kind of think about how an actor gets there.
That's great. And so this next question is a two-part question. The first part being what advice would you give to your younger self, and the second part being what advice would you give to other actresses who want to become bigger?
I think the advice I'd give to my younger self is to not be worried about what everyone else is doing or how I sort of compare or am the same or different from those people. I think when you're young, I know when I was young, I spent a lot of time worrying, like, oh, should I be doing that? Someone else is doing that. Is this the right thing to do? Or should I be doing it this way? Sort of questioning little decisions. And I think that creatively, the more you can really hone your own specific point of view, and the sooner you can just really commit to that. And it's not about like, I think it's a really fine line between having an ego as an artist and thinking like, well, I know everything, I'm amazing. But then if that's the way you feel about your work, then you're not going to be able to absorb anything new, you know? So I think it's a really fine line of like truly, truly knowing who you are and what your interests are, the kind of work you want to do, your creative values, your personal values, um, and your own uniqueness that only you can really offer to something. And then not being afraid to put that out there and let people find you. I think some of the best advice I ever got professionally was doing that ABC showcase. Um, and the main casting director told us to not be afraid to lose a job to get a job. So that, you know, if you're reading a breakdown and it says, this character is bubbly and quirky and I don't know. So all these descriptors that you read when they describe a character. And sometimes you read all those things and you count yourself out. You're like, "Oh, I'm not those things." Or then you go, "Oh, well, I'll just try to be those things. I'll try to change myself to fit what I think this character is." But then, in your audition or your tape or whatever, you're like covering yourself up to try and fit in a box of what you think is right. And her advice, I think, really is like don't be afraid to put your own spin on something. The art form of being an actor is really collaborative. So if someone likes something about what you're doing but not all of it, they'll just give you a note. Or if not, they'll just get to actually meet who you actually are so they know what you're actually right for. And I think that that advice applies to so many things in life, not just acting, but like really not being afraid to put yourself out there for who you actually are and letting the things that are right for you find you. And yeah, I guess that's probably kind of the same advice for other young actors. I think it's that, and I think it's remembering that every interaction you have is a moment where you get to like plant the seed of a future relationship with someone. And there are so many people in this world who are really talented. So the best thing you can do is to be kind, to be personable, to be hardworking, and to keep trying to learn about yourself and your own artistry. I think that's kind of the key to longevity. It's like um, it's a long, winding road, and you have to sort of gear yourself up mentally for the times where it's not as easy. I waited, I think, almost, I guess, a year and a half after Jagged closed before I got this job. And that was the longest I'd ever gone without working. I did the little showcase thing, but it was a really, really hard time, and I had just come off of making my Broadway debut. I thought that this was going to be the beginning of everything just changing and being huge, and everyone would want me. And it's just the world, you can't predict how your career is going to shape up, and what's happening just in the industry at large at any given moment. So I think believing that every person you meet is someone that you can leave a positive impression with, whether it's your talent, your personality, your kindness, all of that. And and trying to just have a happy life, like you got to keep your mind right so that you can keep pursuing um this path, because it's not always easy.
That's great. And so that wraps up the question portion. And then I have the Cursed Child script here. I don't know how much has changed from the to the one act, but I marked a lot of your lines, and so I like to do this thing where I give actors quizzes on their lines.
Okay.
So I don't know how much has changed from the one act to two act Delphi, but like Delphi lines. So we'll
Hmm.
go as see as we go. And so this one it is in the first scene that you come on. And let's see. And then Amos says, "This is Cedric we're talking about."
uh and didn't you say yourself, having someone inside Hogwarts might be a massive advantage?
Yes. And then for viewers at home, if you don't want this spoiled, some lines will be a little spoiler to later in the show. So if you don't want to watch spoilers, you can just exit out at this part. I don't want to spoil the show for anyone. Uh, and this one, you don't have to say the whole paragraph, just a couple sentences from the line. And this is Act 1, Scene 14 in the two part. I don't know where that lines up in the one part version. But you say, so technically I shouldn't be here, and then Scorpia says Delphi.
mm, oh, I think is this the staircase scene?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know, that one's cut.
Oh, it is.
that's
Okay.
that's the scene that I'm the most sad about. That's gone. I so wish I got to do that. Sneak back in,
Yeah.
pit them against each other.
Yeah, so this one is when they sneak in to Hogwarts again. So
Yeah.
that was cut. Cool. And so now this is a little bit of the spoiler for the show. So you yell Crucio, Alba says, I will.
Uh, is this the first Crucio?
I wanna say yes, this is the first.
Ah, I think in our script he doesn't say I will, but then I say what? What do you think you can do?
Yes.
Uh, uh, oh, it's so weird out of context. What do you think you can do? Uh, uh,
You have the scene in a couple hours.
what? Sorry.
You have the scene
I
in a
know,
couple
I know. What do you think you could do? A wizard wide, Im a wizard wide, a wizard wide disc. I don't know. I say more things about how he's really embarrassing
You
and
say
his dad
what?
doesn't
What on
like him.
earth do you think you can do? A wizard-wide disappointment.
Disappointment.
A sore on your
A
family
sore on
name.
your family name.
Yes.
You want me to stop hurting your only friend? Then do what you're told. There
Yes.
we go.
I'm like
Disappointment.
you have the scene in a couple hours.
Not even in half
Yeah.
in an hour. An hour. That's so funny. I mean, it just goes to show when you do it so many times and you do it in the same setting, you do it in the same place, and your body's doing the same thing. It is a weird thing to take it out of context.
And it's crazy because every time I do this, this always happens with any actor I do it with. They always like, and some of them do it in between shows too, and they're like, I have to do this again tonight, and I can't think of it.
That's so funny.
And so this one. uh Scorpius says we had to go with the time turner. We had to try to stop her.
No more wasting precious seconds on either of you. Time to try something new.
Yes.
And then I break the time turner, and then you know what I do? I fly off stage, and when I get down and they unhook me, I take all of the leftover glitter from the time turner and I put it in a bag with my dresser, and we're collecting all of the glitter to pull a prank on someone later.
On someone.
Yep.
That's hilarious. And so your last show is late November, correct?
Yeah, November 10th.
That's awesome. Well, not awesome in the
Yep.
fact that you're leaving the show, but that's you've been with the show for a year then, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy. And so this one is towards the end of the show. Harry slash Voldemort. So when Harry's as Voldemort, he says, "If you were my daughter, I'd know of you."
I'm from the future, the child of Bellatrix Lestrange and you. I was born at Malfoy Manor before the Battle of Hogwarts, a battle you are going to lose. I've come
Yes.
to save you. I think they maybe cut it down. It might be longer in the two-part.
Yeah, it's longer. It talks about Rudolph Lestrange,
Uh,
her
yep,
husband, and goes on about her husband and the prophecy. So it is longer.
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
And so this one, uh, uh, Harry says, you think you've learned my weaknesses."
I don't know that this one's in the play. That's probably around when I say, "You think you're stronger than me?" Or no? I
This
don't think that one's in our one part.
so this takes place. What scene it is at St. Jerome's Church. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think the lines are probably different. Say,
Yeah.
what's like the next line Harry says after that?
So you say I've watched my father. I watched you for a long time, Harry, and then he says you think you learn my weakness, and then you say, you would have said I've studied to be worthy of him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nope.
And so this
Not for me. Sad, sad.
and so this next one isn't a line, but this is a question I asked Joel Myers. This is a trivia question, and it stumped him. So we're gonna see.
Uh-oh. He's really smart, so I have no chance.
In the second year at
But try me.
Hogwarts, who is announced as the chaser for Gryffindor's Quidditch team? And this is Cursed Child era.
Cursed Child era?
Yes.
In Albus's second year,
Yes.
who is announced the chaser of Gryffindor?
Yes.
Rose?
Yes.
Oh! I just took a little guess, but man, I guessed right.
And so this is also one Joel got it, I think. He just had a little trouble. After both Harry and Draco cast Expelliarmus on each other, what spell does Harry use next? And this is a multi choice. Flippendo. I'm probably butchering these names.
No.
Recturemspa, Densuago, or Tarantella.
Victor Sempra?
It is not. It is
Is it
Tarantellegra.
Tarantula? Right. Yes.
And so that wraps up the
Uh,
interview. I'd like to thank you for joining me today.
yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.